idea of biohacking has become more mainstream in recent years, thanks to content like yourself, Andrew Huberman, Brian Johnson, the big three. But it's very difficult to separate like frauds from genuinely impactful things. And I know because I've tried a lot of them. I don't have 3 watches on, but
because I'm a fraud and Andrew Huberman and Brian Johnson are genuine impactful.
Well,
things.
no, you're part of the big 3. You took that in a direction I was not going.
Self-sabotage.
Seriously, we can unpack that later.
Yeah.
So my first question to you is, based on your extensive experience in the health, fitness, and tech world, to somebody looking to hack their way to 80% of the best outcomes out there, what protocols would you recommend today?
Honestly, I think too many people try to be like, hey, an ice bath is going to make me better at taking this supplement. I think I love the rule 80-20, where 20% of the things will drive 80% of the improvement. And that last 20% actually, you have to put in 80% of the effort to get that last 20% as well. Mm-hmm. And I think the foundational things are just sleep enough and properly, consistently, eat healthy, work out, and like have good social time. And if you get those, like everything else falls into place. Well,
why don't we start from, let's do those big 4 in kind of some more detail. So let's talk about sleep.
Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen, I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, but from my experimentation and like testing all the wearables and looking at what other people have shown and studied, is like go to bed and wake up at around the same time, which most people struggle to do.
Is there an optimum time frame that you know of?
I don't think so. I think it just depends on who you are, but consistently going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. I don't know a single person who probably does that. So I think if you can do that, that's a huge unlock.
Yeah.
What's
like the range?
The range is just depends. Like if you
like an hour.
And I would probably like about an hour ish.
Yeah.
The closer you can get, the better. But I would say an hour is like a good flexible time period.
Yeah.
And I think most people just like, they change their sleep schedule on the weekend. So you're already ruining that. So it's like, figure that out first before you do a lot of other things.
So go to bed at 3 a.m. every night.
Yeah. And then if that's your consistent schedule, like pick that and make it your schedule.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. And not drinking alcohol before bed, not drinking caffeine too close to bedtime after 2 p.m. is another big one. And then having a dark room, cool room.
Yeah.
Like those are just basic behaviors, not having your phone in bed. Like if you kind of do those basic things, I think there's a very high probability that you're going to have a good night's sleep.
So what about eating healthy? What kind of diet, what kind of foods are you focusing on at the moment?
I think whole foods, like anything that's not processed, if it comes packaged, like I'm not going to say I'm the best and healthiest eater, but if you can get something that's whole foods, fruits and vegetables and meat and anything like that hasn't been processed and is not in a box, is not in a bag, then it's going to be much better for you. Does anyone do that every single day? I don't think I know a single person who eats whole foods every single day and nothing processed.
Except for Brian Johnson.
Yeah, maybe him. But even then, like his own stuff is somewhat processed, right? He's taking supplements.
Yeah, fair point.
So it's not perfect, but it's optimal.
Yeah.
He's figured out the right processed stuff, but for the most part, leaning more whole foods.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts around meat and protein consumption?
Get enough protein. I don't think I have right now my philosophy is just get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I try to get around 200 plus pounds of grams of protein per day.
Yeah.
I don't know if I track it every day, but that's kind of the goal.
So let's talk about working out. So what's that pillar look like to you?
For me, that's like consistently doing some kind of strength and some kind of cardiovascular training and mobility probably. Mm-hmm. So like at minimum, I would like to get 1 to 2 strength workouts a week and 1 to 2 cardiovascular workouts a week.
Oh, really? That's an interesting split. What makes you want to do more cardio than?
I would say 1 to 2 of each.
Yeah.
From like what I've read is like, okay, if you can do 2 zone 2 workouts a week, that's going to help maintain your metabolic fitness. So right there. And then strength training, if I could do 2 a week, I'd be able to hit, whether it's full body twice a week or upper body, lower body twice a week or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Just as like a maintenance mechanism.
Yeah.
And when I'm traveling, it's like, all right, can I follow this rule? It's still a lot, 4 workouts a week.
Yeah.
It could be tough for some people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So are you focusing on heavy compound lifts like bench press?
Right now, yeah.
Squats?
So right now my focus is training for a marathon. So I'm running probably 4 or 5 times a week, and then doing strength training as much as I can. Maybe it's 2 to 4 times a week. And then it's like, you only have so much time and energy. So it's compound lifts pretty much only.
Well, that's 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
You only got 1 more day.
Yep. Well, it could be doubles, you know, maybe I run in the morning, lift at night, or it's like run and then go straight into the lift.
Yeah. Well, how are you going with, like, you're not doing that on your long run, surely?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh man, you're crazy.
You got to be crazy.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. When's the marathon?
It's like 60 days, I think. April 27th.
Cool. Are you, how are you looking?
I think I'm pretty good.
You've done a few now, haven't you?
2.
Okay.
Last year I did my first marathon and second marathon.
Yep.
And this will be kind of my 3rd. I've done London. That was my first marathon ever last year. So
what was your time?
I think it was 3:31.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Nice.
It was just crazy. Yeah. But I played soccer growing up, and then I did like train pretty well. I showed up to all the workouts.
Yeah.
And I think my body adapted pretty quickly, which is nice.
You're a swimmer too?
I grew up as a swimmer. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a swimmer most of my life, but I also played soccer, basketball, and all those too.
No, when you got such broad shoulders, I swear the swimmer body type is just like jacked as fuck.
I hope it's from that.
Jacked from birth.
Yeah, just straight out of the womb.
Literally. So you spoke about zone 2 cardio. So I don't really know much about this. So what is zone 2 cardio, and like how much cardio do you need in the zone 2 to maintain metabolic health?
Yeah, I guess zone 2 is a very broad and undefined term. Most people will think heart rate zone 2.
Okay.
But I think zone 2 is actually when you are in a state where your body is producing less lactate than it's not producing more. It's producing just the right amount of lactate where it's able to kind of like recycle that and be able to manage it. And once you exit zone 2, your body is actually producing more lactate. So it switches energy systems. Mm-hmm. So you should be burning more fats than carbs in that state. It's like the peak of that state. And there's so many different proxies to be like, okay, maybe heart rate can be like a metric that's easier to measure to help figure out maybe we're in that state. So zone 2 is essentially, in a very easy to understand way, is most people I think argue is a conversational pace on a bike, on a treadmill, on a rower, whatever that is, but a conversational, easy, steady state cardiovascular workout.
Okay. What do you prefer? You said the bike, rower, or treadmill, or running. Like, is that running? Can you do that in walking? Can you get to zone 2 in a walk?
You could, maybe. Yeah. It depends on how fit you are and where you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe like
weighted vest walking.
Yeah. I want to buy a weighted vest. I did a podcast with Kate Tolo a while ago, and she was like talking about how the weighted vest walking is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just never bought one. But I feel like I have my backpack everywhere with all of my shit in it, and I walk around New York all day. Yeah. So I figured that's close enough.
Exactly.
But I wonder if there's a difference between it being on your back, between like being on your front, and like the way your body distributes the weight.
And like how you're engaging your core. Yeah. And how it impacts your spine.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get a weighted vest and have my backpack.
Yeah.
Look like a fucking nutter.
Oh man.
Yeah. I love that. Do you have a preference around those 3?
I guess it depends on what like right now I'm running a marathon, so I want to do most of my zone 2 stuff in running.
Yeah.
But I can't run every day, or just like my body probably can't handle it. It's what I've learned. So I bike as like a secondary, and then I just started rowing a little bit more. So now I'm kind of like into rowing.
Let's go to the Hudson.
Yeah.
Do people row on the Hudson?
Do they? I don't know. I've seen kayaks.
Okay.
I haven't seen rowers.
What about zone 4 and that, HIIT stuff?
What about it?
What about like that in a general, would you ever switch out a day of zone 2 for a day of HIIT?
100%.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. So there's different ways to state the zones. Like I've seen people do like, there's the 3 zone model, there's the 5 zone, 4 zone, 6 zone, 7 zone model. So anytime someone says zone, yeah, there is. So anytime someone says zones, you don't know what language they're speaking.
Let's say HIIT. Yeah. Specifically HIIT. So really intense, 100% effort, 90% effort, short burst, break.
So definitely do those 2. Because someone has described it as like the pyramid, right? Zone 2 is your base building, or aerobic building at the bottom, and then your HIIT stuff is kind of at the top of the pyramid, and you want to grow both of those. You want to have a strong foundation and a tall peak.
Yeah.
So you have to do both kinds of workouts to kind of create that ability to go fast and to be able to go at a steady state for a long period of time.
So many days in the week, man.
I know.
Well,
that's where it all depends on your goals, right? You can only do so much.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe the goal right now, let's, my example is just optimum health and lean muscle building, really.
Yeah. I'd probably do one steady state and one HIIT workout, and then like 2 strength workouts.
Yeah.
If you can have the time. And if you don't, then it's like maybe it's one steady state one week, a HIIT the other week.
Yeah.
And then it's like one strength workout.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. And the social time, talk to me about this one, because this is quite a new, it's not a new concept in human experience, but it's a new concept in the idea of health and longevity, that hanging out with your mates is actually going to make you live longer.
Yeah, I think this is an underrated one. I believe that it's important to have like your community, your friends, your people. Like more and more people are alone, right? Especially with technology, and birth rates are dropping. There are countries where the more that people are alone, like the more likely that they're going to be sad. And I think that's a big component of just like being happy. I grew up with parents who immigrated here, and like a big value that they have is community. Like they have a very tight knit friend group, and like they're not my age, but they all live near each other. They all see each other like once or twice a week. And it's like, that's a big part of their life that they don't kind of let go of. And I'm like, I respect that. And I think that's something that, in American culture, it's very much like individualism, which is also good. But incorporating more like family, cultural values, community. Like it doesn't have to be your blood, but you should have some level of community. Like college dorms, very strong community. You're living and you're with people all the time. I've been a big proponent of always having roommates. Like I lived alone for 1 year, but I think it's important to live with people, especially if you don't if you work out from home. Let's say you live alone, like you're not interacting with too many people in a day, and I don't think that's good for like mental health.
Yeah, I moved into a place alone for a couple of months recently, and that was the first time I've lived alone, and I felt like I was able to be more with my own thoughts. Like I was able to process information better because I didn't have external inputs, but it can get lonely. I don't know. I was also more effective because I had less, like work-wise, I got more work done, but it was only for 2 months. I don't know what 2 years would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for sure. There's something else I've been thinking about doing as well, as like a weekly dinner, just getting different interesting people together and just having a dinner with them.
100%. That's something I used to do at the sauna parties that obviously you've been to. Yeah. And that was kind of my vision, is like, how can I have a space where I can bring people together once a week or, once a month? And obviously that's hard to do a sauna cold plunge party because there's a lot of like costs to that. But doing a dinner party is a little bit easier. It's not easy, but it's a little easier, right? Everyone needs to eat. They're already, then it's just a matter of like picking a location, finding a space and getting the food. And then now you're bringing people together. Like that's my dream, is to be able to have that kind of space and like have that consistent.
Why don't we tee it up?
Let's go.
Make it happen. Once a week or once a fortnight. What do you think of the appropriate cadence for New York is?
It's tough.
People are busy.
Yeah, people are busy. I think it just depends. Like you can do one, like when I did my sauna parties, I did once a week, knowing that like the same people would not show up every week. And
that's me. Joe and I.
There's definitely a strong crew, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people would come once a month or something like that.
Do you think you'll do them again come summer? Or
I want to.
That was the best, man. They were so good. I mean, speaking from my experience when I moved to New York, that was a moment, like a core moment where I was like, oh shit, all right, I've found some people that like think like me, and this is really nice. So yeah.
So I wouldn't do it if it wasn't for, we would have never met. So like that, I think there's value in that.
Yeah.